Guys, it is the sports nerd Bradley Walker, and welcome to the Walker Report, part of In the Zone. Part of NGSC Sports, guys. Remember the website, it's ngscsports.com for all your current sports content. We are also part of Snowman Multimedia Sports, the Game Winner Sports Network, and Mancini Media. Welcome in, guys. Happy Thursday to you. Welcome in, guys. Also, I got a new sponsor, which I'll be going through that sponsorship here just in a few minutes. I want to thank my friends Sophie and Terry. It's their business, so I want to thank them very much. We also will have a guest coming on in the near future. Next month in April, we will have a Jeff Barnes from Team NBS. He's a senior NFL draft analyst. He'll come on 1 week prior to the draft on the 20th. The NFL draft is on the 27th. He's going to come on and tell us how they grade players. I met him at the USF game, so I got his card. I got talking to him. He will be on here. We have an official Instagram page, the Walker Report Official. Any inquiries, business inquiries, go over to the Walker Report Official at gmail.com. And guys, we have a new thing, and you don't have to do this if you don't want to, but you can. We have a donation set up. If you donate $1, your name will be in the banner beneath me for 30 days. $5 gets a shout out at either the start or finish of the show, and $10 gets 10 minutes with us, talking to us in general. So you can come on and talk live with us for 10 minutes. You don't have to do video. If you want to do just audio, you can do that as well. But that is something we are offering. That is not something you have to do. It's just, if you want to do it, you can do it on that. But let me get to the sponsorship, guys. First of all, we are sponsored by CreatingZenSpaces.com. It is the local choice in St. Petersburg, Florida, for house cleaning, organization, decluttering, and pet sitting. It's about finding the peace within you, adding comfort to your life. And remember, guys, Zen Spaces begins with you. Be kind to yourself and one another. We are also sponsored by Garrett's Carrots. Illuminate your inner self, shatter the trending norms, and open up your world to a newfound level of confidence and admiration. Garrett's Carrots, designer jewelry and luxury accessories at garrettscarrots.com. And guys, my new sponsor. Yes, I have a new sponsor on the show, and it is funwags.com. Now, guys, don't think that is anything to do with porn. I think a lot of people think when that is said that. This is a pet treat company, and I'm going to go through the sponsor of what she sent me to say. So this is Funwags is a pet treat company and is also birthday items for dogs and or cats. We cater to dogs, cats, and rabbits and rodents. Most of our treats are universal between cats and dogs. We also have a low-calorie vegetable treat for pets that need to be on a special diet. Funwags was started at the end of 2021 and established at the beginning of 2022. Our mascots are Zoe, 6 years old, and Roxy, 5 years old, and Odin, 12 years old. He's a rabbit. The idea of Funwags came about after the night of December 27, 2021. It was Zoe's birthday. We went as a family to downtown Dunedin in Dunedin, Florida. Everybody loved her birthday outfit, and they were giving Zoe a lot of attention and treats. We had a great time and headed back home. A few hours passed, and I was suddenly walking up to the sound of my dogs being sick. Rushing out of bed and investigating the situation, I realized that Zoe was very ill from stomach. She was ill a few times after each occasion since I woke up. I realized this wasn't going to stop anytime soon. I rushed Zoe outside so that she could continue relieving herself from whatever caused her stomach to be ill. Being concerned, I started to do some research. The store brought dog treats, their ingredients, a lot of them have ingredients which I don't know how to pronounce, and contain preservatives that aren't good for pets. This made me realize I don't want to feed my pets poor ingredients that make them sick in the long run. Funwags is about natural ingredients and preservatives. Majority of the ingredients listed are 3 to 5 items, ingredients you can pronounce. Funwags is made with love and care for all fur babies because they deserve the best. And that is fun-wags.com. Welcome to the show, guys. Welcome as my new sponsor, funwags.com. let me bring on my two great co-hosts. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Bugwags, I thought it was part of a dictionary.
Yeah, that's not anything that's to do with porn. I think a lot of people
I thought it was a dictionary.
immediately think that when you say
no, wait,
so.
that
But
was
yes,
Waggles.
that's the sponsorship I've been working on for a while, and that's a long thing to read. But I'll make sure that I do that every show. But yeah, so that's the new thing, and
rabbits too.
Rabbits as well. Yes, yeah, cats, dogs, and rabbits. Yep, yeah. So. Yeah, and like I said, we will have Jeff Barnes on next month, right before the draft. I did set up that interview,
I saw that
on the show. So, and again, I went through the donation thing too. So again, anyone out there watching, it's not something that's mandatory. If you want to do it, we're open for it, but you don't have to do it. It's not something that has to be done. For you to be a fan, we appreciate the fans that we have, and we're not asking
if you would like to support the show.
Correct. But gentlemen, how's everyone's week going so far?
We're doing all right.
Cool.
Yeah, we're better.
Same here. To shout out to Gerald. I know he's busy tonight, man. We miss you. We'll see you next week, man. Don't worry about coming on. I mean, I know he's got a lot of things on his plate. So, Gerald, if you're watching or you're watching this after we film this show, prayers, brother. Keep fighting. Keep doing what you're doing, man. Don't worry about it. The seat is not going anywhere for you.
Absolutely. We'll keep it warm from you. Keep your seat warm and the mic hot for you, bud.
Correct.
Get back when you can.
Absolutely.
I'll be waiting for you when you get back.
Correct. So we can, guys, if you want to start, I'm going to start with the Logan Paul Fury fight.
Not had a chance to watch it.
Well, Fury won on a decision.
Right.
I haven't got a chance to watch the highlights either. I've been trying to get the notes together. I haven't got a chance to watch the highlights.
I've been meaning to watch it, but can we, as people who have not seen it, maybe Lou has seen it, but can we say, big ups to both guys for actually taking this fight.
Correct.
And making it happen.
About time.
Will it humble Logan Paul or Jake Paul? I'm sorry, not Logan. Absolutely not. 100% zero. I mean, he's already, from what I heard, he was already making excuses in his post-fight interview. But will he go away? No. Why? Why would he?
No,
I mean, and as a boxing fan and as a Jake Paul fan, I like to see him have more legitimate boxing fights, not washed up has-beens and random ex-NBA stars. Let's have him have some more real fights. Let's put him on a road to a championship, and let's get him into an actual weight class, because they fought at catchweight of 180, I think it was. So let's find him a proper weight division, and let's get him in. Let's start working him in some fights, because he's not going anywhere for the next 10 years.
No.
And if you want to shut him up, you're gonna have to shut his mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to surgically wire his jaw shut. And the easiest way to do that, is to break it. So,
yeah,
and as a fight fan, as someone who likes boxing and would like to see boxing have a resurgence, the Jake Pauls of the world are great for the sport, because it gets eyeballs on those fights.
Yeah.
And Jake Paul, so obviously it's not going to be all 20 million followers that the Pauls have. But if you can capture 1% of that, 2 million new eyes. And if you can capture 1% of that, you're looking at 200,000 new fans. It's a massive injection of life into the fight game. And, again, as I've said, I'm a huge boxing fan, love boxing. I think it's one of the hardest sports to pick up. I think a lot of people think that boxing is easy. It's just punching. But there is such an art and its skill level that it takes to be a professional boxer. And I think that, any sport that you don't understand can look easy from the outside. Hey,
listen, not for nothing, but no sport is easy, And boxing is one of the hardest.
No.
skill and stamina punch the other guy's lights out.
Well, yeah,
I agree.
and to know what you're doing, because it takes skill to be able to hit somebody and step offline and not get hit back.
Oh, I agree. I mean, the fight game right now is ruled by UFC. We all know that.
Absolutely.
It's been ruled by UFC for many years.
15 years?
And this might be something that boxing actually needs. And you know what? In all reality, too, if you look at Logan being in the WWE, that's another thing that the WWE needs too, because again, it brings new eyes to wrestling. It brings new eyes. Like he's gonna obviously. I have a funny feeling. 9 times out of 10, he's gonna have a match at WrestleMania against Seth Rollins. I just got done watching the top 10 clips from Raw this past week, 2 days, and Seth Rollins called Logan Paul on the Miz's phone after he knocked him out and said, "Hey, bitch, if you have a sack, grow him and come to the arena next week and face me one-on-one." I have a funny feeling we're going to see a match at WrestleMania. Those two will go at it at WrestleMania. I have a funny feeling.
Absolutely, 100%.
So for everyone out there that hasn't watched the fight yet, go watch it. It was very entertaining. It came down
to he's calling me out here.
A decision. It came down to a decision. It wasn't okay. I will say this. Paul did not get knocked out. It wasn't a knockout or anything like that. Yes, he did make excuses in the post-game fight press conference, as a lot of guys will do when they lost.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, it happens. In any sport, I think anybody's going to say, yeah, it was somebody else's fault. Or no, I got this happened to me during training. And fight. I mean, Tyson Fury said that thing on his head caused him to lose. Or not Tyson Fury.
Deontay Wilder.
Deontay Wilder. Yeah, so there you go.
Well, I remember there was an old commercial. It was a Budweiser commercial years and years ago, and they were parodying Deion Sanders. Yes. And the guy's name was Leon. And he said the reporter asked him if his 4 fumbles had anything to do with their loss, and he goes, "Not if one of them other guys would have jumped on it." And I think that it's great for because obviously we're small potatoes here, but we're talking about boxing, and we're I don't know about, I know Lou's a passionate boxing fan. I don't know how big into boxing Brad is, but
somewhat. Somewhat.
It's okay if it's on, I'll watch kind of guy. And I'm a very passionate boxing fan, and I love boxing, and to be able to have that spark of interest and get young people involved in the fight game. And I get it. I understand boxing is probably one of the most dangerous sports in the world, right? And because the whole point of boxing is to repeatedly get punched in the face, and
everywhere else too.
Yeah, and so like in the stick and ball sports, in your footballs and your basketballs, avoiding contact is outside of like your offensive lineman, but in basketball or baseball or hockey being the one exception where hitting is part of the is a primary point of the game, and football to a lesser extent, because if you get hit in football, that means you got stopped, right? So that means you didn't get in the end zone. So whereas in boxing, you're going to take blunt force trauma to the head. Right. And we know that blunt force trauma to the head is not good for the human body. And I know I'm breaking ground here, blowing everybody's mind. But and that idea of in boxing is there's no protective gear. There's no safety equipment. It's just your ability to bob and weave and protect yourself. Before they start each fight, protect yourself at all times. It's on the individual fighter to protect himself, and your opponent is under no obligation to protect you.
Well, if you guys remember too, Boom Boom Mancini, who my roommate, his father is a huge Boom Boom Mancini fan. Got gloves signed by him. He actually had a fighter. I don't know if the fighter died in the ring or died shortly after the match. One of the matches that Boom Boom was in, and on the anniversary of that fight, Boom Boom takes a week just to every year. Now this is every year since the fights happened. He goes into like isolation for a week.
Yeah,
his family and everything. It's just a reflecting period. I don't know. You can look up the fight, but I'm not sure. I know it was Boom Boom Mancini because I watched a documentary about it on YouTube a long time ago.
Oh, it was like 3 or 4 years ago now. Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah, he once during that week of the fight, he takes solitude. He goes into solitude because he tries. He thinks maybe it was his fault, but it really wasn't his fault. He didn't do anything that a fighter wouldn't do, So, and that's what happened. People have died in the ring. People have died after matches. You get Ali, Parkinson's disease, after getting shots in the head for however long he was in the ring
20
for.
years.
Joe Frazier was another one that had some issues when
brain damage.
He passed away. So I mean, boxing is not not a safe sport by any means of the imagination.
Boxing isn't for the faint of heart.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not. And hopefully, I mean, again, the thing is, it will never be what it was during the Ali Frazier, then the passing it to Tyson and so on and so forth. We don't have any big stars in boxing, but the Paul, Jake Paul could be that guy. He could be the one that brings
a catalyst
to boxing, and we could have the next Tyson or Sugar Ray Leonard or one of those guys out there, George Foreman's, something like that. Somebody out there. Oh, you know what? I'm going to get into boxing now because I want to beat Jake Paul's ass. So I want to get into boxing and beat him.
Remember, if he's not for me, because he has George.
Georgie. He had 5 sons and 1 daughter, and he named them all George.
Yep, he sure did.
Well, it's like in the heyday of boxing in the 40s and 50s, even up into the late 70s and maybe even mid 80s-ish. Mm-hmm. They were the only kid on the block, especially in the 40s and 50s. Boxing, baseball, and horse racing. Those were the big 3 sports in America. With the rise of, with more opportunities for African Americans, and the end of segregation and the rise of the NBA and the NFL, it's pushed a lot of those things, inner city youths who were boxing or playing baseball have gravitated toward basketball and football. And because there's so much more money in basketball and football than there ever was in the fight game, unless you were a top guy in boxing, you weren't going to make but, $50,000 a year maybe. And you were fighting 5-10 times a month. Mm-hmm. You were fighting Wednesday, you were fighting Thursday, and they were getting you patched up so you could fight again on Tuesday, and then you had a Thursday fight or a Friday night. And you were fighting 3, 4, or 5 times a week, just getting your brains beat in. And there was no money. It's like a $500 purse. There's no money in it. And when you're, you train, you take Sunday off, you train Monday, fight Tuesday, take Wednesday off, train Thursday, fight Friday. You take Saturday off, have the next weekend off, and you're right back into it on Monday. And a lot of talking to some of the guys that I've trained with over the last couple of years, is they talk about you take more punishment in training than you ever do in the ring, because you're training, you're in 3 fights a day. You're getting hit. You have, if you train 3 hours a day, if you have 3 sparring matches a day, you have 3. You're getting that much more. You're taking that much more damage. So nowadays professional fighters only allowed to fight once every 3 months, so that they can have recovery time. And I think that go ahead.
You need that because if I was to fight 3 or 4 times a week, I'd be exhausted. How do you have that much stamina after, just fighting, one fight on Monday and then another fight on Wednesday or Thursday or case? I mean, that's enough to exhaust any guy out.
Right.
That's
Plus,
pushing it to extreme. No wonder you can't do anything past the age of 35. You're beat up.
yeah, no, it's really, back in the day, back in the 60s and 70s, yeah, you were fighting, if you weren't fighting, maybe not 3 or 4 times a week, but definitely 3 or 4 times a month. I know Tyson back when he was coming up, he was fighting 3 or 4 times. He had like 10 fights in 1 year.
Yeah, but your body can't recover that fast, even if you are a top boxer.
I know, and that's why, and that's one of the reasons why boxing has gone the way it has, is that, we're protecting our fighters now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that's good. We need to protect them. They're the ones.
No, I don't. I'm not saying that. I'm neither saying it's good nor bad. I'm just saying that it's the way that the game has evolved.
Yes.
And to Brad's point, yeah, I definitely think that it can the rise of Logan Paul can inject interest in the fight game, and can bring young fans in.
So, guys, like I said, I mean, we just sat here and talked for boxing for about 22 minutes, and that's something that we don't normally do. So, yeah, there you go. So, real quick, I know there's not a lot of people out there that are rugby fans. I am one of them that is. I will be at a USF rugby game on Saturday at 1 o'clock. They're playing Florida, the Florida Gators.
Okay.
In Tampa. The game starts at 1, so I'll be over there watching them play again. They're undefeated. They beat UCF over the weekend in Orlando. They have not lost, and I hope I just didn't jinx them by saying that. But they
won't be invited back to another game.
Yeah, I guess not. But I'm still working on trying to get them back on the show. A lot of people like that show, so I'm trying to get them back on the show.
Oh yeah.
After that, but I'm gonna go real quick. I mean, this is the world rankings for rugby. The World Cup is later this year in Paris. I believe is where the World Cup is this year in rugby. The number one team in the nation is Ireland, actually. Ireland is number 1 in the world. France is number 2. New Zealand, that is the All Blacks. They're number 3. South Africa is the defending world champs. They're 4. Scotland's 5. England's 6. Australia is 7. Argentina is 8. Japan is 9. And Wales is 10. If anybody wants to know where the United States stands, they are at number 19 in the world in rugby.
Okay.
So they're in the top 20 in the world. They are in there right there
with right there with where American soccer is right now.
And they did not qualify for the rugby tournament later this year. Let me give you the bracket of how it's going to be broken down. It starts in September. That is when the World Cup starts. Let me, as this page loads up, let's see here. Okay, no, I don't need the rankings. Let me go.
I like the.
Yeah, this is okay. The world. So the 7 series. Okay, and that's the 7s. And if people don't know, there's 15 players per side, but they do also have 7s, which is a shit ton faster than the 15s are. So, oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah, it's super fast. Okay, let's see here. 2023 Rugby World Cup. Yes, it will be taking place in Paris, in France this year. Again, last year, the South African team won the World Championship. So they are the defending champions. And the opening match is on I said September. Oh, yes, it does start in September. September 8th, the championship game is Saturday, October 28th of 2023. But here are the pools for the tournament. Pool A is New Zealand, France, Italy, Uruguay, Namibia. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it. Yeah.
Namibia?
Yeah. It's Namibia.
Yeah, Namibia. Yeah, Namibia.
Pool B is South Africa, Ireland, Scotland, Tonga, and Romania. Pool C is Wales, Australia, Fiji, Georgia. That's the country, not the state. Portugal.
Right.
And then Pool D is England, Japan, Argentina, Samoa, and Chile. So those are the pools. The opening match for Pool A is France and New Zealand on September 8th at 3 o'clock my time. So 3 o'clock here. The first one, Pool B,
8 o'clock.
Yeah. Pool B will be it would be 3 o'clock my time, 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
So 8 o'clock France.
Correct. The Ireland-Romania match will take place at 9:30 a.m. my time on Saturday morning the 9th. In Pool C, it'll be Australia-Georgia at noon on September 9th. So it'll be after that match. And then England-Argentina will be at 3 o'clock my time on the 9th. So there's 3 games on the 9th and 1 game opens up. So that France-New Zealand game should be freaking good right off the gate.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
top 2 teams some of the top 2 teams in the world right off the bat facing off against
2 and 3. That's incredible. Yeah. I mean, that's the way you want to do it, though, right?
Correct. You want to have the best right off the bat,
right off the hop, and get it going.
Correct.
That's kind of what I was thinking for my final was France and New Zealand.
New Zealand, yeah, that's
very
likely could happen that way.
Yeah. Safe bets on both of those teams.
Mm-hmm.
I have stuff behind my head that's making crinkly noises, and it's driving me crazy.
Now we can go back to something that we talk about on the show, and that's NASCAR. Yes. So I was reading an article, Bud, that Kurt Busch is still suffering. Is it Kurt Busch? Yeah, Kurt Busch.
Yes,
it's still suffering from concussions. I read an article about
post-concussion syndrome.
Yeah, he's still having concussion symptoms. So obviously he'll never drive a car again if he continues.
Maybe. Well, I guess I'm sorry. I shouldn't have let you finish there. He'll never drive if he continues to have those symptoms. But according to I was watching, he was on Race Hub earlier this week, I think Tuesday or Wednesday, and I think it was Tuesday, and he was talking about there's still things that he wants to improve before he gets behind the wheel of a race car again. Mm-hmm. But things are trending in the right direction, at least according to him. But he's taking it slow. He's listening to his doctors, and I think again, like we were talking about boxing, making good changes to protect their fighters. A lot of credit to Kurt Busch and his team and just big ups to Kurt Busch for not trying to get back behind the wheel of a race car when he's not ready.
Correct.
Like we were talking about a couple weeks ago and talking about with Kevin Harvick calling it a career at the end of the year. When you've done something for your whole life and that's all you've ever known, it's really hard to admit that you ain't got it anymore and walk away. Mm-hmm. And so I want to say big ups to Kurt Busch for admitting that he doesn't have it right now. And wishing him a speedy recovery. And with all sincerity, Kurt Busch has always been one of my personal favorites, and and it sucks that he's not. It sucks that he's not behind the wheel right now, and so
that's a big loss for NASCAR.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And I also read something, Bud, that NASCAR is making rule changes for road courses and tracks that are shorter than 1.058 miles or less. It says the adjustments tested at Phoenix Raceway in late January include a 2-inch spoiler and the removal of 3 diffuser stakes and engine panel strakes. The changes are expected to lead to a 30% reduction in downforce. The adjustments will take place at Charlotte Roval, Chicago Street Course, Circuit of Americas, Indianapolis Motor Speedway's road course, Martinsville, New Hampshire, North Wilkesboro, Phoenix, Richmond, Pomona, and Watkins Glen. These are all the tracks that have wet weather package, rain tires, wipers, etc. So I don't know. There was something about that I wanted to ask you. What was your take on those changes?
The idea is to make the cars less grippy, for want of a better term. So what downforce does is it allows the car more turn in the corner, without sacrificing horsepower. So the more aerodynamic downforce you can get, the less horsepower you're going to sacrifice. So you get more horsepower without more drivability, more turn in without sacrificing horsepower. So when you have less grip, the cars are harder to drive, making you have to work harder to actually get them to turn and drive the way you want them to. Where each driver wants his car to drive a little bit different than the next guy. Right. And so the idea is to make them a little bit less aero dependent, and more make you have to actually ideally make the cars more competitive on the shorter tracks that we run. Okay. One thing that we saw last year is that if you got clean air, you were gone. If you could get out in clean air, you couldn't pass anybody on the short tracks without banging them up out of the way. So what they're hoping to be able to do is create drivability in the car, so that there's less downforce, so the car isn't sucked down to the track as severely, so that you actually have to drive the car through the corner, and it doesn't cut nearly as well. So hopefully we'll see improved racing at the shorter tracks and road courses this year. Honestly, I'm no engineer, I'm no rocket surgeon, so I don't know how much this is going to improve the overall drivability of the car, or reduce it and make it more racy, where you can't just get out in clean air and get gone. We'll find out in a couple weeks when we head to Phoenix. We'll see what if anything it does to make the racing product better. I think the biggest thing is that this is the problem with motorsports, is that everyone wants a little bit different feel in the car, and if you can get your driver the feel that he wants, that he can just do what he wants to do with the car in a given race, then he'll be class of the field all day. If you can keep up with the track and you can make the adjustments that you need to make the car drive the way your driver wants it to drive, you're going to have the top 10 spread out by 10 seconds and everybody 2.5 seconds apart. And you're watching the battle for 16th through 18th because it's the only racing on the track. And it's just one endless string of through the fields, between caution breaks.
And they're in Fontana this week, correct?
Fontana was last week. They're in Vegas this week.
Vegas, okay. Sin City.
Indeed. Usual suspects are going to be Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott. I expect them to be up in the top 10, top 5 all day. Hopefully we'll have practice and qualifying this week. They got rained out last week at Fontana. And so then you had some guys, you had some comers and goers, you had good cars starting out in the back and worse cars starting up front, because they set the field based upon metrics from last year and Daytona. Mm-hmm. So you had some good cars in the back and some less competitive cars up front, and so you had a little bit of comers and goers. But at the end of the day, Kyle Busch wins and Chase Elliott finishes second. So you had your usual suspects up front all day. Kyle Larson lost a motor like 6 laps into the race.
Ouch.
Yeah, so he ended up like 27th, 15 laps down. pretty typical Fontana.
Pretty much.
An okay race, not terrible, not spectacular. No, pretty bog standard for what Fontana has been for the last decade. Kind of a, again, like I said, everybody, top 10 separated by 10 seconds. Everybody's 2 seconds apart, and we're watching the battle for 16th through 18th because it's the only racing on the track. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how to change that. I don't know there's some techno wizard out there that would be able to design a car that you can't get away from everybody in. But that's been the way it's been since the beginning.
Yeah.
And like we were talking about a couple weeks ago when Big Bill created NASCAR, the winner was going to be the guy with the fastest car. And that's how it's always been. Mm-hmm. The guy with the fastest car is going to be 90% of the time going to win.
Right.
And the guy with the best equipment and the best and the fastest car, good God. I'm having a brain struggle right now, so I'm just gonna.
Okay.
Well, we can. Okay. I was gonna say we can flip guys to MLB. The World Baseball Classic starts Tuesday the 7th. This Tuesday coming up. Here are the pools for the tournament and where these will be taking place. Pool A is in Taiwan. You have Chinese Taipei, the Netherlands, Cuba, Italy, and Panama. Pool B is in Japan, in Tokyo, Japan, Korea, Australia, China, and the Czech Republic. Pool C is in Phoenix, Arizona, USA, Mexico, Colombia, Canada, Great Britain. Pool D is in Miami, Florida, Puerto Rico, Venezuela, Dominican Republic, Israel, and Nicaragua. How this will break down is then the Pool B runner-up versus the winner of Pool A, and then the runner-up of Pool A and the winner of Pool B will face off in Tokyo to head to that's the quarterfinals. Pool C, it'll be the same way. Runner-up for Pool C will face the winner of Pool D. The runner-up of Pool D will face the winner of Pool C. That's in Miami. The championship will all take place in Miami. The final game will be on March 21st. So it'll be about 2 weeks after the tournament starts on the 7th. So that is the World Baseball Classic. I know they don't – what do they do? Like every 4 years, 8 years? I don't think
like 4 years, I think. Yeah.
Every 4 years? Okay.
Yes.
Now, Lou, I know you are a huge Yankee fan, and I saw this article.
Yes.
I wanted to go through it with you. This is the all-time 26-man roster for the New York Yankees. This is from Sports SNY. So this is a New York website, guys. This is not somebody making this up. This is coming from New York itself. Okay, so here we go. The starting lineup. At catcher, Yogi Berra.
Oh, yeah.
First baseman, Lou Gehrig.
Oh, yes.
Second baseman, Willie Randolph.
Yep.
Shortstop. Can you tell me who that will be? That should be easy.
It had to be Derek Jeter.
Derek Jeter, correct. Who do you think they have at third base?
Greg Nettles.
Alex Rodriguez. Yeah. They left fielder would be Joe DiMaggio. Center field will be Mickey Mantle.
Oh, yeah.
Right field would be Aaron Judge. The DH would be Babe Ruth, as we all would guess. Here's the starting rotation. Whitey Ford would be the ace.
Oh.
Lefty Gomez would be number 2. Andy Pettit would be 3. Ron God, why can I not pronounce that guy's last name? Thank you.
Guidry.
4.
I think I'd say Guidry at 3.
Okay. Mel Stottlemyre. Stottle. Okay. Okay. In the bullpen, the closer obviously is Mariano Rivera. The setup men would be Rich Gossett, Sparky Lyle, Dave Righetti, Jeff Nelson, Mike Stanton, and Dylan Benaces. would be the setup guy.
Yeah, tennis.
Okay. Backup catcher would be Bill Dickey. These are backups now. These are bench players.
Right.
Don Mattingly would be at first. Reggie Jackson would be in the outfield. Infielders would be Phil Rizzuto and Robinson Cano. And so that's what they came up with. Do you agree with that, Lou? I'm not a Yankee fan, so you tell me. Being that you're a Yankee guy,
90% I do.
Okay. I mean, Yankees had so many great players. That was the cool part about me going to Yankee Stadium, the old one, not the new one, but I got to tour the old stadium. And when you sit in the dugout, and look out, and you look at the bench and go, holy shit! Like Mickey Mantle sat here, Babe Ruth sat here, Derek Jeter sat here, So you go through all of the names that have sat on that bench. You're like, holy crap! Like there's a lot of. I'm not a Yankee fan, but it still was cool to be there and embrace. No. I'm a fan of the team that hates them the most. So
the evil empire.
I'm the other way.
The Red Sox.
The evil empire. The only one I got to pick a bone with is how can you not have Mr. October in the starting lineup?
Exactly.
Reggie Jackson.
I mean, God love Aaron Judge, but he ain't done shit.
Not yet.
Oh, Brad wants the link, my man.
I'm sorry?
Jared wants the link.
Oh, is he going to come on?
Yeah, he just shot me a message and said, "Yeah, Brad, send me the link." I was like, I can do that.
I think Chris Jim was on that list.
Where's Mike Mussina, though?
Yeah, how did Mussina not make that list?
I'd rather have Moose over Pettit, personally.
Oh, the Moose.
I mean, don't get me wrong, that starting five, it's. I mean, who's the murderers? Who was Murderers Row, though?
It's the 1927 Yankees. Ruth, Garrick, Maggio.
That team surprisingly won 9 games in a row. So how did the 2002 Athletics win 20 in a row?
And not even win the World Series.
Yeah, how did the 02 A's win 20 games and set the new record?
and yet, bombed out in the playoffs, man.
Yeah, first round.
Didn't they get swept by the Yankees?
They got swept by the Yankees in the AL the year before.
You can say the same thing about the Mariners, who won 116 games in 2001, and they lost in the first round. You can say the same thing about that.
To the Yankees, right?
Yeah.
Yep. Haha.
Well, I mean, I watched Moneyball the other day. I love that movie, by the way.
That's a great movie.
Loves to watch a baseball movie. It's a great movie to watch about how a team like the A's and the Rays here locally, you have to take the guys that no one else wants and hope that they turn into something because you can't afford to sign the big free agents and stuff like that. So, yeah.
As a big of a fan of that movie as I am, it really doesn't tell the whole story of Moneyball.
No,
the biggest problem with Moneyball is that Moneyball doesn't win championships.
No,
not in baseball.
Nope.
Not in baseball.
Not any sport.
I mean, I would argue that I think that you can make an argument for Bill Belichick's Patriots that you can play Moneyball if you have as talented of a coach as Bill Belichick. I think there's an argument to be made.
Right.
But if you look at Moneyball, what did the A's accomplish with their penny pinching ways?
Nothing.
What did they win?
Nothing.
And I mean, and everybody's been riding Billy Bean's balls for the last 20 years, saying what a wonderful GM he is.
Now he's president of baseball operations. He's not even a GM anymore. Right.
Well, I mean, how he's such a genius, and yet they didn't do anything. Yeah, they won a whole bunch of games, but when it mattered, it was the big red machine. It was the evil empire. It was It was the teams that paid money. I mean, even the 97 Marlins and the 02 Marlins and the 01 Diamondbacks, they bought championships. They paid the guys. It wasn't these small market teams that put together a roster of nobodies that just believed in their believableness and their can-do attitude and their gung-ho spirit and a mouthful of big league chew. You know,
well, it's analytics in the beginning of it. It was the start of the rubber band ball of analytics. Yeah.
And analytics are great up to a certain point, but analytics, you can analytics until you're anal, but analytics doesn't hit 60 home runs.
No,
it does not.
Analytics may say, okay, I can have these 3 guys, and these 3 guys are going to produce as much as Aaron Judge. Sure, that's fine. And that's all well and good. And sure, you can save money that way, and you can live better that way, but your Walmart baseball team isn't winning titles.
No.
Aaron Judge is worth more in the long term. That's why Aaron Judge is a $300 million man. And those guys, those 3 guys that you got on a bargain deal that are $5 movies, yeah, they can, you can put together a year, sneak up on everybody, and shock the world and make a postseason. But then when you run into the juggernaut that is the Yankees, you get murdered.
Mm-hmm. Can someone send Gerald the link real quick? I thought that I had done it, and maybe
I can drop it to him.
No, I agree, because if you look back at the movie, they went out and got guys like I'm trying to remember the names. Like you had Jermaine Dye. Dye had a couple of years in Oakland, and then he left. And then you had guys like now I'm drawing a blank that they picked up. Hatterberg. Scott Hatterberg, who had nerve damage in his fingers from an elbow injury. He was a catcher, and they turned him into a first baseman, and he was uncomfortable playing first base. I mean, so
you get lucky.
Get lucky, yeah. I mean, they had Bradford, who was one of those sidearm pitchers, and no one else wanted. And funny, you don't see any of those guys in the league anymore. You don't see the green style pitcher anymore. You don't even see a knuckleballer anymore. So I mean, the knuckleball has completely gone out of the game too. So. I agree with the list, with the Yankees, but yeah, I mean, it's,
I just think that the overarching point about Moneyball and about that Yankees list, look at the names on that Yankees list. All of those guys would be, for want of a better term, made men.
Absolutely.
Those guys are money guys. Those are guys that you back the Brinks truck up for and say, name a price. And what have the Yankees done for the last 100 years? Backed the Brinks truck up and paid the guys. Yep. And now I get it. The Yankees are, the cream de la creme. And the A's are a poverty franchise. But if you want to break out of that stigma, if you want to be considered something other than just a charity case, you have got to open the purse strings up and pay the players to come there.
But it won't guarantee a championship, though.
No, he's right. It doesn't guarantee you a championship.
No.
But it may not guarantee you a championship. But Moneyball has never won a championship. Paying players has won quite a few championships.
Oh no doubt, bud, no doubt. I mean,
I understand. I understand. I understand the Yankees have spent over $1 billion or some absurd number over the last 10 years and haven't won a title. I get that, but not paying players. I mean, you look at the Diamondbacks, you look at the Rockies, you look at the post World Series Royals, and they all went poverty franchise, and they've never been able to. The Pirates. The Pirates were on the cut. There's a great video. I can't remember if it's Baseball Doesn't Exist or Stark Raving Sports. But they have this great video about the Pirates. And They had so many great guys in their organization, and they were in the NLDS, and they lost. And I think it was 2013, 2014. And they lost the NLDS, and they blew it up. And they've gone frugal, and they haven't paid their big name free agents. They've let them walk and go other places.
Mm-hmm.
And look at who's won the titles over the last handful of years.
Yeah.
Whether it was the 2019 Red Sox, big payroll. The 2020
Houston Astros have a big payroll.
The Astros have a big payroll. The Dodgers have a big payroll.
Yeah,
correct.
2020.
Well, it's not.
Yep.
That was the Dodgers in 2020.
It was the Red
'cause
Sox in 2018. The Red Sox won in 2018. The Astros, I think, won in 2019. 17.
It was 17. Yeah, because I was still at home for that one.
Yeah, it had been there's Gerald. What's up, buddy? Yeah, I mean, you're right. Go ahead,
I
bud.
got everything done for tomorrow, man. I don't want to do this, but I got to.
Okay.
No, I trust me, dude. You're going through a rough time, man. So hang in there. You're doing the right thing, brother. You're doing the right thing.
Yes.
But yeah, and look at this. Look at the Rays. Like they pulled their pitcher in the 6th inning. They win the World Series. Nope.
Right.
Nope. They were there against the Dodgers, and nope. And the Rays have been there twice, and they haven't won one yet. And
Right.
and
let
it told them to pull the pitcher. Well, no, Kevin Cash shouldn't have walked out there and pulled him. Should have left him in there.
Right.
So
and you look at the 2 years that they did make it, they had pretty decent payrolls.
Yeah.
mhm.
And I get that labor is your biggest expense for any organization. Labor is your biggest expense, and so if you cut labor, you have more money in the bottom line, which looks better to investors. But as much as we talk about this, sports is a business. At the end of the day, what gets people more excited, more interested? The reason why the Yankees sell $100 bajillion in merchandise is winning championships and a pedigree.
Huh.
Why do the Cowboys sell out every year all over the world? A winning pedigree, championships.
Mm-hmm.
Why do the Dodgers? Why is Dodger blue? Why do we call it winning championships and a winning pedigree? Yep. And why are the Bruins or the Rangers or the Red Wings? Why is Jeff Gordon the biggest race car driver in the world? Why is Dale Earnhardt the most? Why is the black number 3 the most recognizable number in NASCAR? Winning championships, a winning pedigree, and what do all those great teams have in common?
Mm-hmm.
The willingness to spend money to either bring in top name free agents or retain free agents that they have.
Well, the Yankees have the most World Series of any franchise in MLB. Is it 26? 27. 27 champions. They actually think they have the most of anybody in sports.
In North America.
All the leagues, yeah, because I think the Canadians have 24 Stanley Cups.
Yes.
Boston has 17 NBA championships? Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's right.
And it's tied between the Patriots and the Steelers in the NFL with 6, and then you got Dallas, San Francisco that have 5. So they're right on the cusp of being right there too.
Okay.
Who?
I'm sorry?
I think Patriots have 7.
No, 6.
No, they have 6. Brady has 7 by himself.
Oh, okay.
Brady won 7 by himself. He won all 6 in New England and then won 1 with the Bucks a couple years ago. Yep.
Yeah.
The Patriots were. Say again?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, bud.
Yeah, because I took the microphone off its stand.
Okay.
Oh, it's okay. Yep, we can still hear you. We can still hear you. But I wanted to bring that article up, Luke, because I know you're a Yankee fan, and I wanted to go. I mean, we all know who those guys are. We all know who those players are. I mean, even if you're just a typical baseball fan, you'll know what those names are because they're etched in history. And I mean, even a modern day fan would go back and I mean, I'm one of those, like, if I become a fan of a sport, I will go back and look at the history of it.
Absolutely invest in the history.
Right. Of the players or the drivers or whatever made the sport what it is today. Because everybody had, going back to the Wayne Gretzky's, the Gordie Howells, guys like that set the pillars for the hockey that we have today. The Connor McDavids, the Connor Bedard, who's going to be the number 1 overall pick in the draft in the NHL coming up this year. He's the hottest commodity. But I mean, players like that, the Sidney Crosbys, the Ovechkins, guys like that, we'll all remember those names, when we get older.
Mm-hmm. We'll tell our grandkids about it.
In their heyday. And then like with baseball, I mean, I'm not a Yankee fan, but I was a huge Derek Jeter fan. I love Derek Jeter. Him and Rivera both were my 2 favorite Yankees. And what I liked about them is they were baseball players. They didn't let the popularity off the field, like Alex Rodriguez, didn't let that get in the way of their play. They were great professional baseball players that deserve what they got. I think they were both first ballot Hall of Famers, if I'm not mistaken.
Wasn't Jeter?
Or was Jeter?
Jeter what? No, Jeter was the first ballot, but Rivera was the first unanimous.
First unanimous. That's right. That's right.
And Jeter was near unanimous, except for the one writer in Boston, who's of course.
What a shock!
I was going to say, what a shocker that somebody probably for Nesson or the Boston Globe probably said, no, we don't like.
Why was that?
I have one quick question for Lou about that list. Would you? I would have gone with Jorge on the bench.
Posada,
yeah.
I didn't hear his name on that list.
No, who did they? And they had somebody else as the backup catcher.
Yeah,
a name that I didn't recognize, but I'm not the world's biggest Yankee fan.
Well, who was the name?
Let me pull that back up real quick. Let me go back. So I think that was the bench players. Let me see.
Yeah.
Because they had. I totally agree. Yogi. Yes, Yogi definitely. No doubt.
If not, forget about his play on the field. He's just, you got to tell, if you want somebody to talk to, it's got to be Yogi.
It's got to be Yogi.
Absolutely. Out of all the Yankee greats to have ever been great in pinstripes, Yogi is the one that.
The backup catcher was Bill Dickey, and then it's tough to leave Munson off that list too.
That was the other name that I was
there too.
Thurman Munson.
I think tragedy. He got such a short career.
Yeah.
I think I would put. I would rather have. Just in terms of longevity and the fact that I never saw Thurman play, and this is not Jay. This is just the tragedy of time being linear. Is that I got to see Jorge play, and I always thought he was great behind the dish. I always thought he called a great game. Really had a command of the field, and so that's why I would go with.
Yeah, he isn't even listed among. I mean, maybe an honorable mention after Thurman Munson and Bill Dickey. I mean, I don't really know anyone else. Again, like you said, I mean, Yogi definitely would be the definite starter. There's no doubt. Number 8, Yogi would definitely be there. Like Adam said, you're one of the greatest. What was his quips? He was one of the greatest quippers I've ever.
When you come to a fork in the road, take it.
Yeah, he used quips all the time. He was one of the greats. One of the great quippers that we have in there. Correct.
I can't remember what his quip about 50% of it is like. I forget how that one goes, but
So
yeah.
let's go now to the March Madness.
Okay.
We are in the month coming
Here's
up.
a way to Selection Sunday.
Is that this week, Lou?
Next week. But this week
Next
they'll start the conference tournaments.
The 12th, then, right?
Yes.
Correct.
That would be the 12th. Okay. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry, guys. I pulled up the 16-team bracket for college hockey because I write about college hockey. So here are the top 16 teams who they think will make the tournament. And I'll go down the list here. The number 1 overall seed is the Minnesota Golden Gophers.
Okay.
The A seed is Penn State, the Nittany Lions. Number 9 is Ohio State. So there's 3 Big Ten teams already in the first 9 teams listed. Number 16 is RIT. That's that's a tech college. Who I think should be the number 1 team in the country because I've been writing now for about a month now is Quinnipiac, the Bobcats. Harvard is number 7. Western Michigan is 10. Minnesota State is number 15. Denver is 3. I think they're the defending national champions. I could be wrong, but I think they're the defending national champions. Boston University is 6. Michigan Tech is 11. Notre Dame is another Big Ten team because they're in the Big Ten in hockey. They're in there. Yes. Michigan's at 4. St. Cloud State, they're at 5. They got
that's in Minnesota too, right?
2 Ivy Leagues in there, in Cornell and Harvard. So I'm looking forward to possibly getting credentials to the Frozen Four, and I hope to see these teams play in the tournament. But it's been kind of cool. I would have to say stepping out of my element to write about college hockey because I didn't know anything about college hockey. So I took that on. I'm like, you know what? If I don't get credentials, at least I stepped out of my comfort zone for a little while and wrote about college hockey. So we'll see how it breaks down.
Yeah.
But all my – go ahead, Lou.
No, you're right.
I didn't know. I must have not gotten – okay. We'll wait till selections. Go ahead.
That's what I was going to pick on Lou there. I was going to pick on Lou there for a minute. I was going to say, what's he doing wearing that New York Mets sweatshirt?
Mets.
I think it says
it's Nets. Nets.
I know, but I was just going to mess with you because if you take the N away and put the M there, it'd be Mets.
Yeah. I get it. But
I would love to see Lou wear a Mets shirt.
If you take out the E in Mets, it plays with a U, you got Mutts. So you have to go with that. New York Mutts.
Oh my goodness!
I apologize for saying that to Mets fans.
Guys, I really need.
Oh my goodness! So the number 1 or a player, one of the number top picks in the NFL draft, got arrested for beating and killing a teammate and a staff member at the University of Georgia. They said it's just going to be a misdemeanor charge, but I heard that his truck.
That should be a felony.
That's what I heard on the radio today. That could be wrong for what I heard, but I heard on the radio this morning that it would just be a misdemeanor charge, that he would be getting. He'd get his license suspended most likely, but he was at the combine already. He went back. He bailed out and went back to the combine. So he's back at the combine already. So there you go.
He got arrested around 11:30. Around 11:40, 11:45, he walked out of jail.
Yeah, there you go. He was in jail for 15 minutes.
15 minutes. Yeah. That's why he's going to get life now too, because he killed.
You know what they say, right? Money talks and BS walks.
Yes. Yep. That is correct.
Mom and Daddy had the money to bail him out, But here's my question to y'all three. Okay, with him being in this much trouble, do y'all think he'll go undrafted?
No, I think he'll slip further down in the draft than he was projected to be. I think someone said he was at 9. I think he may slip down further than that. I don't think he gets undrafted. No.
It depends on where the chart. It depends on how the charges end up.
Right.
If he does end up, if it does become more than a misdemeanor, and he's facing serious jail time, yeah, he could probably, he'll probably go undrafted. But if it ends up being a misdemeanor charge, he's facing a fine and community service.
If he does, he gets away with murder.
He'll end up being late first round, early second round.
Yeah, I don't think he goes undrafted. They already said, guys, that there was a draft expert on. We can actually ask our draft expert coming up next month. Ask him if he agrees with that. But they already said that there were a lot of teams that were not. They didn't like his attitude. They didn't like how he worked out, how he was doing in practice. So he's already kind of got niches in him, baggage with him already. This just adds fuel to the fire, with that. So, yeah, I don't see him getting undrafted, but it's going to hurt his draft stock more than that is. Speaking of college football, guys, did you see that they're trying to making shorter football games in the NCAA?
And then they've kicked around some ideas, yeah.
Yeah, it says
leave it alone.
Don't really get it though.
College football leaders are meeting this week in Indianapolis to consider 3 rule changes that could shorten times and reduce number of plays during the games in this upcoming season. A continued push to monitor players' safety as the sport prepares for a 12-team college football playoff starting next year. The rules under consideration are running the clock after a first down is awarded. Expect in the last 2 minutes of either half, eliminating the option for teams to call consecutive team timeouts, and carrying over any fouls to the next period. Insist on finishing with an untimed down. So that's the rules they're trying to change to make the game move faster. I never thought in my mind, being that I've been a college football fan since I came out of the womb, that college football was too long. That was not something that I an issue in college football.
That's TV.
Yeah.
The problem is that TV has slated 3.5 hours for every college football game. So a game that starts at noon has to be over by 3:30. And a game that starts so that the next game can get started at 3:38. And that game needs to be over by 6:30 so that they can get into whatever they have next, because this is the thing we were talking about a couple of years ago. I with all the COVID stuff and trying to rework games and move things around, and also with my MLB having really, really long games and finding, because the problem is that if you sell oh God, what game was it? Oh, I know what it was. It was the Bills game. The Bengals game from earlier this year, when they delayed Monday Night Football and they were trying to decide what they were going to, if they were going to restart the game or not. And the problem is that if you have a game that's scheduled to go till 3:30 and the game goes till 4:15, you have to move stuff around and you have to make room to get in the other programming. So that means that a game that was supposed to, if you have an ABC game that's supposed to be over at 3:30 and it goes till 4:15, that means you've missed that the local markets of the teams that start at 3:30 are going to switch to that game, to the local game. So if Michigan is playing Hawaii at noon on Saturday, and that game runs long, and Florida is playing Texas at 3:30, and that's the premier game that ABC has that week. Just for one example, ABC wants to get the Ann Arbor and Hawaii markets to that game.
Mhm.
And so if the Michigan game runs long, that means that they have that market is going to have to wait, and especially those regional markets. So that's Indiana, Ohio, Illinois, Michigan, Minnesota. That the Midwest region, the ABC is going to stay with the Michigan game till that game's over. Meaning that the Florida-Texas game that's the national midday game, you're going to miss 15 minutes of that game, which means that the sponsors who have bought airtime during the Texas-Florida game, or Arkansas would be a better choice, Texas-Arkansas, a big-time matchup game we don't see very often. It's back on the schedule for the first time in 15 years, whatever. It's a premier day one college football game. That means that those advertisers that have sold or have bought airtime during the Texas-Arkansas game are not getting their commercials shown in the those markets, in the further away markets, because those markets haven't switched to the Texas-Arkansas game.
Mhm.
And that's why they're complaining about runtime, is because they have sold advertising, especially not so much the 3, because the 3:30 till the noon to 6:30 kind of is kind of a college football window, so you're kind of expect. But after 3:30, if there's no night game, if there's no nightcap, or let's say Notre Dame is playing, Notre Dame plays Syracuse, right? So so NBC carries that game. They want that, if that game starts at 2:30 Eastern, they want that game over no later than 6 o'clock, because at 6 o'clock they're going into regular programming. They're going into local news, an infomercial at 6:30, a rerun of Wheel of Fortune, a rerun of Jeopardy, and then their Saturday night primetime programming, whether it be Dateline or not Dateline, but not Nightline. Oh my God, why can I not remember that show over on NBC? One of those lady. Is it Dateline?
Yeah, I can just say now. We don't have this football game to bring you an infomercial. So.
Right, but the infomercial has paid for that 6:30 time slot.
Correct.
And so if that football game runs long, that infomercial is either going to have to be shortened or moved somewhere else to another time slot, which means that they're losing out on those advertising dollars that they've spent. And so that's the real reason why college football wants to shorten games. It's the real reason why MLB wants to shorten games. It's the reason why everybody wants to try and condense games down to as short as possible.
Right.
Well, speaking of MLB, guys, I know from what I've been hearing that the pitch clock, the average MLB game is now down to 2.5 hours. That's quick for an MLB game. I mean, think about that. Yeah. That's quick for a baseball game.
Yeah, that's like a hockey game right there, man.
I mean, if I get credentials to the Rays, hey, man, at 7 o'clock first pitch, I get to leave by 9:30? You kidding me? I would love that. I love that, man. Be home by 10:30? You kidding me? Absolutely.
Faster game.
Yeah. I remember when the Wings was in the heyday of the 25 consecutive years in our championships. Wings game started at 7. If a Wings game started at 7, it'd be over by 9:15, 9:30 at the latest. Yeah. And I'm sure Lou can attest with the Rangers. Those games were over by 9:15, 9:30. If we didn't have overtime, regulation, we were done by 9:30.
Yeah.
If it was overtime, it'd be like 9:45. Big deal.
Right. Yeah. And that's the thing, is that that's the real reason why why networks want the games over as quick as possible. Is because they've already sold. They might have blocked off the 15 minutes after, right? They might have said, okay, we're gonna hold on to these last 15 minutes, right? There's a little bit of we got us cushion, But by 6:45, we need to be getting done by 7 o'clock. We have to be done. And if the game, if a game goes into, if Notre Dame goes into triple overtime and we're creeping closer to 7:30, 8 o'clock, and there's no sign of this game getting over, they're wanting to. The network is going, okay, we got to wrap this thing up because they've sold, they might not have, they might have left 6:30 to 7:30, 7 empty, right? And they'll backfill with something if the game gets over at 6:25. They'll do a 5-minute off the air and they'll go into an infomercial that they have available. And but once 7 o'clock hits and they're starting to get into that, they're getting into that window where they need to get into premium, especially like the NFL. With the NFL games, the 4 o'clock game, once that 4 o'clock game is over, they're trying to get off the air so that they can get into their next block of programming that's following the football. And so that's why you're seeing this big push to shorten games in all sports across the leagues.
That makes sense. I mean, if I was an advertiser and I paid money, like you said, man, let's say let's look at this. USF's playing Alabama this year at Raymond James Stadium. It's the second home game of the season. Let's say it's a night game. Say it's a 7 o'clock kickoff, right? And you have a game on before that started at 3:30 and was supposed to be over by 6 or 6:30, and now it's in overtime. So now if I paid for advertisement commercials during the Alabama USF game, because Alabama is usually the number one team in the country, now I'm out of that money because the game is still in overtime. So I understand them wanting to cut it shorter, make it college football. But it just sucks for fans.
Cut it down to 10 minutes per quarter.
It sucks for fans for that. I mean, it does. It sucks for fans if they shorten the game because of that, But I understand. Advertisers, big corporations, money. I understand.
Well, wait 50 minutes over. Lost another $20 million. Okay, there we go. Up now it's overtime. We lost another $20 million. Oh.
I'm assuming, and I don't watch a lot of Pac-12 football because usually I'm in bed by that time of the day. But I'm assuming that there are advertisers that pay because, again, those games are kicking off at 7 o'clock their time. It might be 10 o'clock where I'm at, where Gerald's at. It's 9 wherever. So I mean, what I'm saying is, I don't watch any Pac-12 football because I'm usually in bed after getting up and watching College Game Day, because that's once that rolls around, I get up every Saturday morning to watch College Game Day. So yeah. How comes they don't do that in the National Hockey League? I understand baseball and college football, but not in hockey. Hockey now is the average game now is what, 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours?
It's always been right around 2.5, 3 hours.
Yeah.
And 90% of your college, up until 90% of your games are going to be on your local station anyway.
Correct. Well, yes. But I mean, the Lightning now, Bally Sports, the company
is going belly under.
Going belly under, yeah. So they're talking. Again, it's probably going to come down to a streaming service. They're going to go to a streaming service. One or the other. That's what they're going to go to. There's actually There's actually I haven't watched it yet. There's a U-Tree clip about that on YouTube. I haven't watched it yet, so the Heat's talking about that. The death of
I haven't watched it either. The death of Bally Sports.
The death of local broadcasting covering sports, local sports channels going bye because you can have people pay to stream, Peacock or Amazon or Apple or YouTube TV or Hulu or one of them. You make them pay for the subscription to watch their hockey team. So that might be coming.
Well, I have I'm being out of market. I have ESPN Plus. So as long as the Wings aren't playing the Preds, I can watch those. I can watch pretty much 80 games out of the 82 games on ESPN Plus.
They black you out when they play Nashville.
Yes,
because you're local.
Yes.
Right.
So how do you watch the Wings when they're playing the Predators?
I don't.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I was gonna say you. Okay.
I might be able to watch on YouTube Plus, but I haven't. I don't need to watch on YouTube TV because I have ESPN Plus. So if I want to watch the Wings, because they're not a market team, and we play 80 or 82 games most years, we're playing the Preds. We're playing the Preds Saturday, I believe. So I only miss like 2 games if and so I really what's 2 games among friends? I can skip 2 games. It's not a big deal.
Or you can always listen to it on the radio. I mean, I know it's not.
I can go to Buffalo Wild Wings or whatever.
Cigar bar, have a cigar and watch the game there. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Because they'll have the local Nashville channel up. So
yeah, absolutely. There's a couple of hockey fans at the bar. So
we got a tornado warning for Austin.
Ooh, that's scary.
Yeah, we got high wind advisories for here tomorrow. So it's gonna be an adventure. It's gonna be an interesting day. I have a tattoo appointment at noon, right during the middle of all the bad weather.
Yeah, it's heading your way, Adam. So get ready.
Right, I don't have anything I'm worried about. So as long as the tornado don't come through the living room, I'll be all right.
Right. Well, there was a blizzard in California. They haven't had a blizzard in how long?
Yeah,
weather's all messed up right now.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of that, it was snowing during.
I didn't know it was a La Nina year.
It was actually
they had
during the Infinity race.
Mm-hmm. They're delayed to Sunday night.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's on the other side of us. Okay, we're safe.
But
hopefully, no one gets injured in Austin and whoever's in the way of the storms that are coming through. So
that's why I'm a weather spotter.
Yeah.
First responder.
Yeah, anyone that's I saw earlier Gerald on the weather group there that Terry was going through that right now. So I said, hey, prayers for you because seriously, no tornadoes are the thing about tornadoes is you can't track them. There's no way of tracking tornadoes. Hurricanes you can track. You can kind of track them. Tornadoes you can't.
Tornadoes, you can track the rotation.
Yeah, tornadoes are not. The problem with tornadoes is they're unpredictable.
Yes.
See, what happens with it? You can it's a tornado warning is a. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Gerald. A tornado watch is all the fixings to make a taco. A tornado warning is that tacos have been made. Correct? Is that how they
means conditions are favorable
for a tornado? And tornado watch means that
tornado warning means that there's one that's either been spotted
or been on the ground,
or the rotation is spinning in the direction that it may drop a tornado.
Yeah, and
I only have one. Thank goodness.
So
yeah, tornado. The thing about tornadoes is that they're unpredictable. Like you can track them.
We have water spouts here, so
I tell you the one
those
I
are
hate.
fun.
I tell you the one I hate tracking, and that's rain-wrapped tornadoes. You cannot see a tornado inside of the rain.
Right.
And I've seen these crazy stuff. 1 minute they're heading this way, you're tracking it going this way, then you look away at something, you look back and it's like it's going that direction.
The thing about it is that you can be tracking this storm cell over here and it looks promising for a tornado. You turn your head and you look over there and one's on the ground.
Yeah.
That's what makes tornadoes so dangerous is because you can't like Brad was saying is you can't you can track a hurricane. Okay, a tornado, these are the probable tracks for a hurricane. with a tornado, the probable tracks for a tornado is 50 miles from the eye. Anywhere in the next 50 miles, duck and cover because
you could be over here. You could be over here, and the tornado could be like maybe 2-3 minutes away from you. Then they issue a tornado warning. Then all of a sudden, within 30 seconds, it's over.
It's gone. Yeah.
The tornado warning's off the board.
Right. The tornado. You could be 2 miles out. Tornado touches down. It's on the ground for 10 seconds, picks back up, and doesn't regenerate enough energy to come back down and wipe your house out. You can wipe out 10 miles around you. You can cut a swath of destruction. 10 miles, maybe 20 miles wide, and be on the ground for 2 minutes and a swath of destruction 10 miles long.
Yeah.
And you'll have absolute utter destruction in that 150 feet.
I've seen this happen before.
Over here and over there, nothing.
I've seen it on video. Where a tornado, you have a neighborhood, houses on both sides of the street. Okay? Tornado touches down, wipes out this side of the neighborhood, but not even touch this other side.
Yeah, looks like nothing happened.
And looked like the other on your right side looks like a nuclear bomb went off.
Yeah, it's like a war zone.
Yeah.
But on your left side, nothing.
We had one go through my hometown this time last year. Yeah, south of the town wrecked. Absolutely devastation as far as the eye can see. North side of the town, 5 miles away, nothing happened. Some rain. Everybody got a little wet.
Not only are we on the tornado warning, but we're under a severe thunderstorm warning also.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know how to protect yourself in a thunderstorm, right?
Stay inside.
Take a 1-iron out there. Because not even God can hit a 1-iron.
I'll leave that for you there, Adam.
It's an old golfing joke.
It's an old golf joke. Not even.
I thought Brad.
I got it.
I thought Brad would appreciate that one.
Yeah,
I've heard both. I've heard a 1-iron or a 2-iron, whichever.
Yeah. Those are the two toughest clubs to hit. That's why. I've hit a 2 before. I'm not saying that I hit it well. I've never had a 1-iron before because
I've never even seen a 1-iron.
A one is like that. I mean, there's no loft.
Like a hockey stick.
Yeah, exactly. It's you there's no loft or bent to it, nothing. So it's nearly impossible to hit. Speaking of golf, I do have some golf talk. So again, we all know the PGA and the LIV Tour are bickering back and forth already. So as they always do. Nick Faldo is calling Sergio Garcia the most immature player he's ever seen. That's interesting, again, being that they're from the same country. It's funny how they're from the same country. But Nick Faldo, I mean, I would have to agree. Sergio, you can go on YouTube and watch his antics when he gets mad. He threw a shoe one time. No, Gerald, I swear to God, go on and watch it on YouTube. Type in Sergio Garcia loses cool. He literally got broken and took his shoe off and threw it back against the wall of the tee box. He's thrown his driver into the woods and then made his caddy go in and get the driver out of the woods for him. Oh yeah, Isn't he broken clubs? He's broke, but I think the major reason why I think Faldo feels this way is Sergio is on the LIV Tour. He was one of the guys that went over there when LIV came to be.
That'll do it.
And Faldo was I think he's still on CBS. I don't know if he's retired. I know there were talks that he was going to step away from being an announcer for CBS Golf. I know Jim Nantz is retiring from broadcasting after the Masters. So after next month, we will no longer see Jim Nantz in the booth, which will suck because Jim is one of the best. And the Masters, I don't know who's going to voice the Masters after Jim leaves.
I'll do
It's
God.
it's
Tony
gonna be
Romo.
sad. Tony Romo. Could be. Tony plays golf.
He's a pretty good golfer from what I've heard.
Yeah, Tony's a player. Tony's a player. Yeah, I could go with that. I would have no problem with Tony being the play-by-play. You
I
know,
can just hear it now. Tiger Woods is on the 12th tee. He's got to sink this for the birdie.
so then Sergio fires back, not at Nick Auto, but blames Rory McIlroy. He blames Rory McIlroy for the whole fight with Liv. I don't know why. I mean, Rory's been one that's been outspoken on the PGA Tour about Liv Golf. I don't think he's the one to point the blame at. But then again, it could be Sergio being immature that he is. Because again, we were talking a couple weeks ago about, about Arnold Palmer and Jack Nicklaus, how they had a rivalry, and you can throw Gary Player into that equation. Sergio was supposed to be Tiger's, Tiger's guy. He, other than maybe one or two tournaments, I don't remember. It took Sergio well into his career to win a major. Tiger has 16?
Yeah,
majors to his name.
60.
So, yeah, I mean, I think Sergio
Again,
or two.
It's like we were talking about during our rivalry show. We were talking about Jack versus Arnold.
Yeah,
and we were talking about that and how Tiger never had a rival. I mean, it's hard to have a rival when you don't get beat.
No. Yep. Correct.
It's hard to who do you measure Tiger against? Tiger. That's the only guy that you can measure Tiger against is Tiger, because he was so good. He was so much heads and shoulders above everyone else. He was a full body length ahead better than everyone else.
Correct.
And we talked about that, and why golf has fallen off over the last 10 years was the big turn down in golf was the .com bubble bursting and the housing bubble bursting, and all those people who played golf every weekend and during the week when in their middle management. Well, where do we have our meetings? We have them on the golf course. Mm-hmm. We 7 a.m. tee time. And we talk business, and we play a round of golf, and we come in and we eat, and we talk more business, and we might play a second round of golf, And when all those middle management jobs went away, and people stopped caring about golf, and then Tiger gets hurt and has that scandal, and there's no one in to fill the void. There's no one stepping up and dominating. Rory McIlroy was probably the closest thing golf had to the next, and everybody thought Rory was going to be the next Tiger, right? They were pushing him to be the next Tiger.
Correct.
And this is not a knock on Rory, because golf is an incredibly difficult sport to play. And anybody who says otherwise is either lying or an idiot.
Lying idiot.
I have a question once you finish your talk, bud.
And so when you see these, and Sergio being incredibly, Bryson DeChambeau is incredibly childish. Brooks Koepka is incredibly childish. Sergio is incredibly childish. And the people that watch golf are old white guys who don't like antics from foreigners.
Right.
True. Can you guys name me the one major that Rory McIlroy has never won? There's only one he's never won.
The Open?
Does he have a green jacket?
No, he does not. The Masters.
I didn't think so.
He had a 10-shot lead going into, I don't know what Masters it was, but he had a huge lead. And he choked it away. Maybe he choked it away on the last day. He totally went into, had one of the worst rounds of his career. And he's never been that close ever again. He's never been that close.
How do you blow a 10-stroke lead?
Oh, well, I mean, hitting the ball out of bounds, chunking shots, missing putts. I mean, Augusta on Sunday.
To give up.
Augusta on Sunday, one of the toughest tracks on the planet. Then you throw in the Sunday pin distance, how fast that golf course is, how long the golf course is. Yeah, not great to have a bad round.
well, the fact that you play 3 perfect rounds of golf to get a 10-stroke lead, and you just have to play one more good round, and you play so poorly.
Mm-hmm.
If he puts together a 72, if he shoots par, he walks away. He walks away with it.
Correct. Yep.
And I think that's the biggest thing that separates Tiger from everyone else over the last 30 years, and the fact that golf didn't cultivate any other stars, because there were, and this is kind of a testament to Tiger's greatness, is there wasn't anyone else to cultivate. There were no stars to elevate.
You are correct, sir.
Right.
You said 2011. That was the year that he had the blow up. So 12 years ago is when he blew at the Masters.
And the reason that 2011 stuck out my mind was because that would have been 2 years removed from Tiger's scandal and his back injury, and that was at that period where golf was going through their big transition. We were at the bottom of we were at the come up of after the housing bubble had burst, and we hadn't fully recovered quite yet, and Rory was supposed to be the next great one. Rory was supposed to to pick up Tiger's mantle and run with it, and he ran with it all right into the ground.
Yeah, he's come back a little bit recently, but not like he was supposed to. Not like they thought he was going to be. Not like that. I mean, like you said, he was supposed to be the torch was supposed to be passed from Tiger to Rory. That was supposed to be what was supposed to happen. So,
and I think the other thing, is the fact that they didn't have a WrestleMania moment.
No,
there was no playoff 18.
Yeah,
there was no 16 at. Oh God.
Oh, the Waste Management, Phoenix.
Yeah, in Phoenix, there was no 16th hole with Tiger and Rory tied for the lead, 6 shots under.
How about 17 in Sawgrass?
Yeah, there was no one last playoff hole at Augusta at 18 on Augusta. There was no Open championship on the line. They didn't compete for the FedEx Cup against each other. So there was no passing of the torch moment for Rory to take it from Tiger. And that's not a knock on either one. Things happen and life just goes on, and it's kind of unfortunate for Rory that he didn't get a chance to have to retire the legends. He didn't get, his king died, and he wasn't ready to rule the kingdom.
Correct.
The king is dead. Long live the king.
Who actually did very well a couple weeks ago at the Genesis Open. He made the cut. Now it's not a win, but it's good to see Tiger in weekend golf. I think, again, and we've talked about this numerous times on this show, I don't think there was a dry eye in 2019 when he won the Masters. I know it wasn't for me. Watching him do what he did on Sunday. And again, probably one of the greatest golf shots ever by him was on 16 when he won the Masters with the ball stopped on the lip of the hole. Nike had a perfect commercial. Showed the whoosh as the ball fell into the hole. But I mean, it is what it is. Tiger's Tiger.
the fist bump.
The fist bump.
When the the club in his left hand, the fist bump. Yeah.
Always wearing red on Sundays.
We talk.
Yep.
You brought up Tiger winning the Masters 2019.
I think he won in 2019 is when he won the Masters.
You know, I got getting my dad, you know, not a golf fan, played one round of golf in his life, hated every minute of it, and he borrowed my grandpa's clubs, or he rented them from the pro shop. I don't remember. And he took the clubs back and said, "Yeah, I'm done." You see, he was like, went in the clubhouse and drank the rest of the afternoon. But to get my dad to turn on the Masters and watch the final round with me and just remember and reminisce about my grandpa, and you know, because my grandpa, you know, like I said, old white guys. You know, my grandpa was just another old white guy from the Midwest, but you know, he was a Tiger. You know, Tiger was his guy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and Tiger, you know, like you're saying, no dry. Yeah, I shed a tear or two. I mean, it got really misty. My allergies were acting up.
I think once he got through Amen Corner, and if people out there don't know what Amen Corner is, that is 11 through 13 at Augusta. Number 11 is a par 4, 12 is a par 3, and 13 is a par 5. But those are the 3 toughest holes on Augusta National, especially on Sunday. Once he got through Amen Corner, you're like, okay, now what was left? 16's that par 3, easy par 3. If you hit the ball up, it will roll back towards the hole. And when he got teed off on 18, you're like, wow, this
is gonna happen.
This
is gonna happen.
You know, and you're thinking to yourself like, oh my God, thinking back to, you know, when he first won it like 20 years previous, and watching him, you know, win it for his, you know, first time wearing the red shirt, the fist pump, hugging his dad. You know, that was the memorable moment of him coming off the green, was hugging his dad on 18. And then when he won in 19, hugging Charlie, his son. And it was such a cool moment to see him hug his son. Like, wait, that just like, you cannot but not cry to remember seeing him hug Earl. And then now he hugs Charlie, and he switched roles. Like, he's the dad now, but he's hugging Charlie. And maybe down the road, I mean, I don't know. We might see Charlie have a Masters moment with his dad too. So I don't know
exactly
what the future holds for him. Right as of right now, and what I've been reading about him, he's a hell of a player, and he's got the DNA of one of the best to ever grab a set of clubs on the planet. So, you know, heaven forbid, you know, we get to see him. Yeah. It's just the fact with every other athlete, with Junior, everybody compares you to your dad. Like, immediately, everybody throws you like, oh, well, is Junior going to be like Senior? Is Charlie going to be like Tiger? You got to let these guys develop their own legacy. Don't. Oh well, he's gonna be like his dad. Well, how do you know that? How do you know he'll be like that?
Yeah, and Charlie's what, 16 now?
Yeah, he's getting close. Yeah, I think he's 15, 16. He's in his high school years.
Yeah. And who knows where he'll be in 3 years when he's turning 19, 20.
We go to college, or will he go to the pros? That's going to be the question.
And does he want to play golf? Does he want to carry on or does he want to chart his own path? I mean, he's a pretty bang. He's not a bad golfer, but is that you know? Again, we talk about that with all sports. Is the travel? You know, does he want to live that lifestyle, being on the road 50 some odd weeks of the year, playing? You know, and this is the thing about having your hobbies be your job. At a certain point, it's a job. It's a grind. It's getting up at 6 a.m. to play around. It's, you know, for a guy like Tiger who it just comes so naturally to, you would think that he wouldn't be out there hitting driver at 6 a.m. He wouldn't need that.
No.
But he is, because that's how good he is. That's why he's so good. It's because at 6 a.m. he's out there hitting driver. Because is that the kind of lifestyle Charlie, you know, and then that's the thing that Charlie's going to have to decide for himself. We might want it as fans. You know, we'd love to see him pick up the mantle and carry on the Woods family legacy. But is that who he is? Will he be that guy?
Because there already is a Woods on the LPGA Tour. That's Tiger's niece or cousin. I'm not sure. what relation she is to Tiger. But again, she was right off the bat. Oh, is she going to be like Tiger? No,
Right.
because there's not going to be another Tiger. There won't be another Dale Sr. There won't be another Jeff Gordon. There won't be another Jimmy Johnson. You have to, if they have sons that grow up and do their, I mean, the one thing that you can look at maybe where it's a little bit easier is wrestling. Like, look at Ric Flair and Charlotte Flair. Look at The Rock and his dad, Rocky Johnson. You know, stuff like that. And now his daughter is moving up the ranks. But I mean, guys like that, maybe it's a little bit easier because your legacies are there and they know where you come from. You know, like with Natalya, being that her uncle was Bret Hart. Her dad was what's his name? Neidhart. What was I forget what his first name was. Joe, what was Natalya's dad? There you go. Thank you. Like that. Okay. That's a little bit different than when it comes to golf or NASCAR or NFL. You know, like let's say Tom Brady. Like, I know Brady's oldest son is a quarterback. So let's say he goes on, plays high school and goes to college, and let's say he goes to Michigan, just like his dad did, right? And he gets drafted by a team. Oh, is this the next Tom Brady? No, there's not going to be another Tom Brady. There's not.
And unfortunately, you know, we don't even have to look into the future. We have Arch Manning.
Right.
You know,
exactly. There you go.
You know, he's the grandson. He's grandson of Archie Manning, named after his granddad. And you know, he's going to Texas, and he's you know, he's already a larger than life figure. And you know, and unfortunately, you know, for our kids, you know, we're nobodies. You know, we're just four morons on the internet. And so our kids won't have a legacy to live up to. And, you know, and if they were to become superstar athletes, they don't have to live in their father's shadow. They can chart their own future.
Right.
But for guys like you said, Tom Brady's son or Tiger Woods' son or Arch Manning, you know, their uncles, you know, for Arch Manning, his uncles were both Super Bowl champions. You know, and you know, his other uncle is arguably one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, one of the greatest to have ever played the position. And his dad, if he hadn't gotten sick, was a better athlete and more talented than his other brothers, his younger brothers. And everybody thought that it was the eldest Manning that was going to be the family prodigy. I mean, he unfortunately gets sick and he has a spinal cord problem, can't play football anymore. And you know, look at Ty Gibbs, you know, and you know, he comes in and sets the world on fire, and everybody thinks, you know, he's look out, here comes Ty Gibbs, and then he has some on track issues with some guys, and everybody hates him, you know, and you know, and he gets this unfortunate, you know, he's, in my opinion, he's one of the most talented young drivers that I've ever seen. Jumps in a car and goes out and wins in the first race he's ever in. I mean, you've got to be talented to be able to do that. And, you know, now that he's in Cup and he has all the pressure on him, you know, he's driving for his granddad's team, and, you know, a lot of people are saying, well, it's nepotism. He hasn't earned it. He's only there because his granddaddy's got his granddaddy's name's on the car. He didn't deserve it. And, you know, and that's, you know, it's unfortunately for him, he's going to have to overcome that over the next couple of years and break out of that. And, you know, and I think the same thing is going to be true for Bronny Jr. and for Tiger's kids as they come up, because he's got a couple of daughters too. And, you know, and we'll see what happens with the, you know, because we're getting into the fourth generation of, you know, legacies. Wow. Where the kids of legends are having kids of their own.
So their kids.
No, we have, you know, Ken Griffey Jr. and his dad, and Prince Fielder and his dad from you know, baseball.
And you have Vlad Guerrero and Vladdy Jr.
Vlad Jr. Yep. And now we have, and so if Vladdy Jr. has a kid who ends up making, you know, he won't just have his own father to legacy to live up to, but his grandfather's legacy.
Yep.
You know, and it's not, you know, it's neither fair nor unfair. It is just what it is. You know,
Right.
some people are just blessed with better genes than the rest of us.
Well, and also too, I mean, it seems like they all play for the Blue Jays. You got Bo Bichette's, you know, his son plays for the Blue Jays. Guerrero plays for the Jays, and there's another famous baseball player. His son also plays for the Blue Jays. So it's like, yeah, and then like you said, if they have kids, like Guerrero, for example, let's say he has a son, and he's the third. Okay, he's going to have to live up to his dad and his grandfather, and many consider Vlad, you know, one of the best one of the best hitters ever, the power hitters that he was, you know, and then, you know, the other, you know, Junior's doing the same thing, you know, he's keeping the legacy alive, and, but yeah, you're right. It sucks that the pressure will be on them, but if they can overcome that, then, you know, they'll be great. They can build their own legacy, you know, and make it for, you know, for their kids or whatever, if they decide to have them down the road and stuff like that. So should be interesting, but yeah, you know,
on the flip side of that, having a name doesn't guarantee you anything either. Look at Jeffrey Earnhardt, who's Dale's grandson. He's Carrie's kid. He's Dale's oldest, and he's not nearly as good as what would that make him? Uncle? Yeah, that would make him his uncle, right?
Uncle.
Yeah, Dale Jr. He's not nearly as talented as his uncle is, who wasn't as talented as his father was. And, you know, unfortunately for Jeffrey Earnhardt, the Earnhardt name only goes so far. You know, and you know, he's gonna have to stretch and claw and fight for every inch he gets. You know, so having a name doesn't necessarily mean you're granted opportunities that other people wouldn't be. A name and talent will out. I mean, because Dale Jr. was not a bad driver. You know, he wasn't his father. But he wasn't a bad driver. He wasn't Kyle Petty bad. He wasn't an also-ran. But he wasn't, unfortunately for Dale Jr., you know, I think the biggest problem for Dale Jr. was he didn't learn how to drive from his dad.
No.
And he wanted to do it his own way. And you know, if you watch some of the interviews he's done with Richard, you know, and talking about coming up the last couple of years of Dale's life, and when Dale Jr. was getting in the car and getting acquainted with how to drive, you know, Dale would be like, okay, this is what I'm doing. And Junior would be like, okay, this is what I'm doing. And Dale would be like, okay, good for you. Good luck. And there was one story, they were at Pocono or Richmond or something. I don't remember where exactly they were. And Junior was just bad fast. Top of the speed, top of the charts on Friday, top 5 on Saturday, and starting in the top 5, maybe even put it on the pole. And Dale came up and he cried, "Did a good job, you know, whatever." And said, "But I'll see you in 15 laps." And Dale had qualified in mid-pack 15, 20, or something like that. And sure as shit, Junior 15 laps into the run, the car was fading. Here comes Daddy on the outside, just waving as he went by. And that was just how good Dale was. It's just how good Dale was. He was and unfortunately for Junior, he didn't get to spend Dale's twilight years with him. You know, and DEI fell apart when Dale died. Teresa had no interest in being there, and I don't blame her. If my dad if my spouse creates a legacy for himself in a business, and Teresa was around racing. Her father was into racing and was some big shot in NASCAR back in the 70s. I forget who her dad was exactly, but so it wasn't like she wasn't a fan of racing. You know, she grown up around the track. But when Dale died and there was no plan, because the plan was for Dale to run it till he died, but that was like 20 years from now, you know. And the idea was that when Dale was done being part of DEI, he was going to retire and give it to his kids. And, Dale Jr. was not ready to be the boss. Dale Jr. was not ready to be in charge. And Teresa had no interest in being there anymore. And I don't blame her. When your heart and soul is yanked out of you in a moment and you have no chance to grieve and process and sorry, my throat was getting dry. When you have no chance to process your emotions and you got to turn around and just go back to work the next week because that's what Dale would have wanted, it becomes very easy to distance yourself from all of that. And Teresa was a businesswoman. She wasn't a racing woman. Dale was she handled all the business. She was the money person. She got his money, back in the 80s. He had all this money coming in, and he was buying things left, right, and center. Just as fast as he could get in, and he was spending it. And she gets there, and she goes, okay, you need to calm down and slow down, and we need to buy a house, and we need to buy, cars that run, and sensible shoes, and we need to market merchandise, and we need to market the brand, and we need to build a legacy. And she was able to get him to better understand the business side of racing. And that's what she was really good at. She was really good at bringing in sponsors, and she was the money manager at DEI. She was not down in the race shop. That was Dale's baby. Dale's baby was the race shop. And when you lose your leader like that, so instantly, they had a plan for 2021 or 2001. 2001, they had pretty much everything was set up and ready to go. And this was they had a plan for 2001, but after 2001, they were, in January of 2001, they schedule, okay, this is what we're doing this year. And then, back in December, we'll meet again and we'll discuss 2002, 2003, cause Dale was talking, there was talks of this being Dale's last season or, maybe 2 seasons, cause Kevin Harvick had come on board at Richard Childress. They brought him into the Xfinity, or at the time, Busch Series, and he was going to get a handful of starts in Cup and get him ready for the future. And when Dale dies, when he tragically, last lap, last corner, 1,000 feet from the end of the race, and he's gone in the blink of an eye. It's all over, and you're left so rudderless and so directionless. You don't know what to do with yourself. And the only thing you can do is just kind of go back to work, and nobody's heart's in it. And that's, the legacy of DEI. And kind of, the nice thing for a lot of these young guys coming up now is that their dads will be around, that they're going to be able to lean on their fathers and be able to reach out and have that emotional support that Dale Jr. had, and that the talent that Dale Sr. had to be able to pick his brain, And maybe Gerald disagrees with me, but I don't think that Dale Jr. I don't think that Dale Jr. was ever the same after his dad died.
No.
I agree.
I think he was so passionate about racing. I think racing was what he wanted to do, but he just didn't learn how to manage a race. Dale Jr. wanted to be fast. He'll admit it. He admits it. He wanted to be fast every lap. He wanted to run qualifying speed every lap. And he never learned how to manage those expectations and be able to build in a run, to be fast throughout a run.
Alrighty.
Alrighty.
Anybody have any other things they want to say before we close out the show? No.
That's about it.
Okay. Anybody want to go ahead with any advertisements for shows before we get out of here?
All right. Enhanced Sports Show rolls on Saturday, 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern Time. For Gerald, that's 3 to 5. In Europe, it's midnight. So call in. We're on 4 to 6 Eastern Time. Number to call is 512-543-4662. We're going to cover, of course, the hockey trade deadline, which is due in about 18 hours or so, give or take.
Mm-hmm.
We'll discuss. There's a lot of movements in the NFL this week, so we're going to cover that. There's been a lot of trades, and one going this direction, one going that direction, and whatnot. MLB spring training continues. We'll also take a look at the WBC, which is, you said Tuesday it starts, right? I thought it started Monday. My mistake.
Yeah, Tuesday the 7th. Yep.
NBA, of course, we'll also cover the XFL, of course. So, like when I say that out loud, yeah, right. We'll also take a look at our monthly sports calendar of events because March is a big month. Our look at the standings, the ridiculous sign of the week, and the feel-good story of the week, and of course your comments and thoughts, which are always welcome. So if you have time between 4 and 6 Saturday, give the show a call. I'd love to hear from all of you.
All right. Well, again, guys, we thank anyone that joined in. The show will be on YouTube following end of the show, the YouTube channel of The Walk Report. Please like, share, and subscribe over there. We're up to 50 subscribers, so let's go to 60 now. Let's try to get 60. But guys, we are part. The show is part of NGSC Sports. Guys, remember the website? It's ngscsports.com. And guys, that's where my articles go. I have a college hockey article and a Rays article going up sometime this weekend. Head over there and check that out. We are part of Snowman Multimedia Sports, the Game Winner Sports Network, and Mancini Media. We are sponsored by CreatingZenSpaces.com, Carrots, and FunWags.com. That's our new sponsor. But again, guys, thank you so much. We want to say thank you to the men and women of our armed forces and our first responders. Thank you for doing what you do, because we would not be able to do what we do without you guys doing that. The show will be back, guys, next week, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. These three lovely gentlemen will be with me next week. Thank you guys again for this week. We love you all. Until then, I am the Sportster Bradley Walker. Thank you again. Peace.
Hey, folks.
Cut, print, send it.